Matt Clear runs an active shooter defense school in San Diego. He was in the military for 12 years and worked 8 years as a police officer.
Guns in Mexico are just like drugs in America, okay? They're freely flowing across that border. That's completely unprotected, you know, and I don't want to get on the wall subject, but basically we need something.
Clear says he doesn't think making U.S. gun laws more restrictive is a solution to stopping the smuggling of guns into Mexico. He says that only creates problems for law-abiding gun owners like him.
So the laws are so convoluted and ever-evolving that I can just be sitting at home doing nothing, and if I'm not going down to my gun store every day asking if there's a new law, I can immediately become a felon.
It's against Mexican law to take U.S. guns into Mexico. But Tijuana's police department says nearly all of the 2,000 weapons it has seized in crime scenes over the last 3 years are from the U.S. They pour in through ports of entry, where there are few inspections. The reality is affecting real people.
And here he is.
Julieta Sanchez shows me a picture of her 29-year-old son, Fernando, who was fatally shot in Tijuana.
They shot him one time in the temple. They shot him right here. You can see in the photo. And then he died.
Sanchez is a U.S. permanent resident in San Diego. She says the problem with her son started when he began to struggle with drug addiction in the U.S.
I wanted to rehabilitate him, but it's too expensive to do it here.
He was killed in Tijuana after she sent him there to be treated. David Shirk is a researcher with the Justice in Mexico project, who says lax U.S. gun laws are contributing to Mexico's violence hitting an all-time high last year.
Mexico has a homicide by firearm epidemic, and one way to help address that epidemic is to address the problem of firearms.
He says American gun lobbyists have blocked legislation to fix the problem because they profit off the black market in Mexico.
Well, one thing that could be really helpful, which we do not do in the United States, is to register firearms and to track firearms. It's actually illegal in the United States for the ATF to maintain records of who has a gun in the United States.
Shirk also says the southbound smuggling of U.S. guns is contributing to the current border crisis.
Many of those firearms that are contributing to the fear and insecurity that leads people to flee their homes from Central America and come to the U.S. border seeking asylum are U.S. Purchased or manufactured firearms that are making their way into the black market downstream throughout the Americas.
But gun shop owners like Lee Moisev of Gunfighter Tactical says gun law restrictions just hurt his business without doing much else. He says gun shops do plenty to keep weapons out of the hands of criminals. He remembers a man who stopped by once.
He said out loud, I want to buy that rifle to take back to my ranch in Mexico. And we said, no, you can't do that. You cannot do that. There's laws against that, and I'm not going to sell you a gun now.
Some people think Mexico would be safer if its government made it easier for citizens to buy guns, like in the U.S. Currently, Mexican gun laws are extremely restrictive. Bob Maupin is a self-described vigilante in East County. He says Mexico's problems of violence stem from its restrictive gun laws.
I would like to see the Mexican people be armed so they could take their government back, take their country back.
The head of Mexico's customs agency, Ricardo Peralta, says the new administration is installing X-rays and other surveillance technologies at the ports to capture more information about vehicles coming in from the U.S. Previously, there were very few inspections of southbound vehicles.
If in the past they had used technology like we're using now and which we're planning to expand, we would have avoided so many deaths in Mexico.
He says many people have pushed back against southbound inspections because it means slowdowns to enter Mexico, like the long wait times experienced to enter the U.S.
Of course there's resistance. People think Mexico has no intention to take care of its border.
Clear of the active shooter training school says he has another solution.
I'll tell you right now, here's the answer. It's just, hey, America, stop doing illegal drugs. That's it. That's your answer. Every drug addict out there, quit. Stop buying illegal drugs.
And he says that will stop the violence in Mexico. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.